Thanks for joining us for the Customer Experience Podcast. My name's Troy Batchelor, and we're going to be discussing client-centric best practices, tools, and ideas with today's top facility management leaders. I hope you enjoy the podcast. Please be sure to share it on any of your social media platforms, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. We'd love to hear your feedback as well. If you have ideas for future podcasts or future interviews, please be sure to email me, Troy Batchelor at FrenchCompanyLLC.com, and I look forward to getting your feedback. Enjoy. Hey, it's Troy Batchelor. First, I want to thank you for joining us on the podcast over the last several episodes. For this one, we're going to take a little bit different spin. I've actually asked our videographer to pull out from several of the interviews one specific question we asked of a number of them. What do they feel like the future of the facilities management industry looks like to them? And I think you'll enjoy some of the insights and comments that you'll hear. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think the facility management industry is going to look like in the next 5 to 10 years. And send me those to Troy Batchelor at FrenchCompanyLLC.com. Love to get your thoughts, comments, or you can comment underneath this video or on our website. So look forward to hearing your thoughts, your comments. Enjoy the podcast.
Well, the biggest change I see is that we all know with the Amazon deliveries and all the deliveries that are starting to happen in the restaurant world, and you hear some argue against it that it's not going to happen, but it seems to me the shopping centers, the boxes that we climb on the roof of and change filters on, that at some point that has to be reducing. And when that happens, we also serve industrial and commercial buildings. And so somewhere in the future, I think my business or those like me are going to have to focus a little more attention towards industrial and heavy commercial than the extent that we're NFS is probably 75% restaurant retail today.
Yeah.
And I think over the coming years that's going to change some because the stores aren't going to be there as much.
You know, I think those who are entering the space will be required to have a higher skill set than those that are leaving. Mm-hmm. You know, the new professional, the new facility professional really is going to have to leverage all the tools that are available to them. And that's as we migrate as an industry to really a digitized facility management process or a mobile process. So the FM today is going to be different than the FM tomorrow. And what's going to require is going to be a tremendous amount of education. And it's really going to be changing the dynamics and the frameworks of the facility organization. I do believe, because I live in this space, is that without data, these individuals will fail. So the FM's 5-10 years down the road, completely different, leveraging all the tools, then take into consideration all the functionality that's going to be improved with artificial intelligence and virtual reality. Those things are real, and if you're not thinking they are. The value that things like this podcast offer is that if I can just pull out one nugget, glean one message from one of your previous podcasts and use it, apply it, I have benefited. I have created value for myself and someone else.
Yeah, you know, with the store experience, as we talked about, that continues to be something that gets more attention, but also exactly what that looks like. There's so many things with virtual reality and augmented reality that you can do with the store experience, and some of that doesn't necessarily mean being in the store all the time. You know, there are things where you can try on a shirt, or you see what the piece of furniture would look like in your living room before you even go in the store, just through the use of an app. So from the service side, I think the apps and the CMMS and those technology pieces are so important because, I think proprietary software, and I was impressed when I sat with you at the breakfast at Specs and heard about what you guys did with the whole kind of store tours that you guys do to map the stores was pretty impressive. And there's so many things that like that where I'm sure there's going to be things the next few years that seem like they were so obvious that somebody comes up with, just like Uber, Lyft, things like that are like, why didn't I think of that?
Exactly.
And I think technology, without a doubt, is going to continue to drive the changes, but also make our jobs more efficient. I think sometimes it can be a little bit scary because sometimes it's looked at like technology comes in and replaces jobs.
I know you've heard from several others what their thoughts are on on what the facilities management industry looks like over the next 5-10 years. So I thought I would add my own 2 cents at the end of this podcast episode. So, retail and the whole multi-unit industry is changing so much. And obviously, technology is going to be involved in some form or fashion. We're seeing robots actually being able to scan shelves and tour the locations and do functions that some of the employees are having. And, it's going to be interesting to see also what is the Uber industry or that type labor model going to do to both the service industry from a facility management point of view, but also the retail industry. I recently heard a story where a company was posting the availability schedule online, and rather than scheduling associates, they were having the associates sign up for specific shifts that they wanted rather than doing a schedule. Now, obviously, they incentivized employees more for those scheduled that were harder, like the nights and weekends and things like that. So if an employee wanted to make more money, they actually were able to sign up for a shift that probably nobody wanted. And that shift paid more than a shift like a 9-to-5 shift that most people wanted. That's one way that technology potentially is going to change, not the facility management industry, but the retail industry. But who knows? It could apply also to the facility management industry. What if you posted a job rather than send out a technician based on certain criteria? There are all types of freelancer sites and things like that now where people are leveraging the technology. They are working for themselves as an independent contractor, but yet larger companies are able to take advantage of that skill set where you wouldn't necessarily need to hire a videographer or someone who is a graphic designer, things like that. You wouldn't go out and hire a full-time one. You don't need a full-time one, but you use some of the freelancer sites to hire that particular function out. The same thing can happen in the facility management industry where it may be if you're in the HVAC industry, there are HVAC technicians out in the marketplace that could meet certain criteria, take a certain test, and qualify to participate in your particular bid site or to be able to be assigned certain jobs. So, I think that technology and leveraging this independent contractor mentality in the next 5 to 10 years can change the whole landscape of how we conduct our service business going forward, and the retail industry as well. Also leveraging technology, not just from the robots and the auto-driven delivery vehicles and things like that, but watching what's happening in the labor market and watching what's happening in the technology market. How do you merge those two things together and now create a whole different model of business moving forward into the facility management industry? Love to hear your thoughts, but that's my 2 cents. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and thanks again for listening to the podcast. Hope you share it with others. And keep us in mind, if you ever want to participate in the podcast, I'd love to have you on as a guest. No charge. This is a free charge. We don't charge people to participate. We would love to have you as a guest. Reach out to me, Troy Batchelor at FrenchCompanyLLC.com. Thanks. Hey, thanks for joining us on today's podcast. Look for us every couple of weeks. Be sure to subscribe. Also, please share with everyone you know on all of your social media platforms. We would appreciate the promotion. And if you have ideas for guests or topics, we'd love to hear from you. Email me at troybatchelor@frenchcompanyllc.com, and we'll see you on the next podcast.